Assistant Professor, Department of Philosophy, Kholisani Mahavidyalaya, Chandannagar, Hooghly, West Bengal. I am honored and overwhelmed having the opportunity from MMTTC, JNU, to welcome a great scholar, Professor Pankaj Jain, to the web platform of MMTTC, JNU, and to introduce him to my all respected participants. Professor Pankaj Jain is the HOD of Humanities and Languages and the chair of the India Center at Foundation for Liberal and Management Foundation, popularly known as Flame University. He is an internationally recognized academic leader in sustainability, joint studies, film studies, diaspora studies, with about 30 years of experience in the academic and corporate world. Until 2020, he was the founding co-chair of India Initiatives Group and associate professor in the Department of Philosophy and Religion and Anthropology at the University of North Texas, a Tier 1 American university. He holds PhD in religious studies from University of Iowa, MA in religious studies from Columbia University, BE in computer science from Karnataka University. His depth of erudition in philosophy, particularly in Jain philosophy, has been reflected in his huge work, numerous publications, which cannot be described in short time. Rather, I will go straightforwardly to Professor Jain to be enriched with his vast wisdom on Jain philosophy. So, over to sir.
Thank you, Dr. Roy, and it's a pleasure to be with you all this probably cold morning in North India. I'm in Pune, not so cold, but it's still a bit cold. I would like to know how many of you are actually a bit familiar with Jainism or Jain philosophy, or is it completely new for you all?
Yeah.
Sir, I think all of us are familiar with Jaina philosophy, introductory at least.
Introductory. Okay, so I'll try to go fast in the introductory session. Then I may introduce more advanced topics as we go along. So let me start the screen, shared screen. All right, so how many of you are aware of this symbol? This is the popular Jain symbol.
Jain symbol,
yes, symbol yes, Jain universe. Yes. Are you familiar with this symbol? What does this mean? Probably not, right? I don't think so. Okay, this is the Jain universe, which is different from Hindu universe or scientific universe that we know today in the modern science. What this symbol says is that universe is of this shape. In the central region is the earth where we are all sitting, and the final frontier of the universe is the Siddha Lok, where the liberated soul automatically jump from earth to the final frontier of the universe, Siddha Lok. That's where they live there forever. So there is no Brahman. Most important thing to note is there is no Shunyata, there is no Brahman in Jainism. There is even after moksha, the soul will remain distinct and separate from each other, and they are not going to merge with any Brahman, right? So there are infinite souls in the universe, and they live for infinity. They were never created, they will never be born, they will never be destroyed, they will never merge with Brahman, there is no Brahman. So the concept of infinite infinities was given by Jainism thousands of years back. Ananta Anantaha, infinite infinities, right? So why infinite infinities? Because there are infinite souls, and each soul will live for infinity, right? Until infinity. That's why. All right. Then this swastika is also unique in Jainism. This swastika obviously is different from Hitler's swastika. It's also different from Hindu swastika. Hindu swastika means welfare for all, be good for all, right? Su asti in Sanskrit. Here it is. What it shows in Jainism is that a soul can be in 4 different conditions. It can be human soul in human body, in heavenly bodies, that is devas, in hellish bodies, that is in narkas, or in trianch form, that is plants and animals. So this swastika denotes the 4 states of a soul. Then the 3 dots. 3 dots are the Ratnatrayaha, Samyak Darshan, Samyak Gyan, and Samyak Charitra. Right conduct, right faith, and right knowledge. Those are the 3 dots. So this is the JNU. Then the hand. What's the meaning of the hand? Hand could symbolize compassion for all, or pause and stop and meditate. That symbol we can interpret that, or simply Purusharth. My liberation is in my hands, not in any God's hand. No, there is no Brahman, there is no Ishwar, there is nobody who can grace, who can ensure my liberation by his or her grace. There is no Devi here, there is no Dev. It's only my Purusharth, it's only my hand, my efforts that will lead me to liberation. That's the symbology for hand. Then that circle that you see are simply circle dharma law, dharma chakra. So law of the dharma and ahimsa is the core motto of Jainism, as you already know. All right. If anything is repetitive, you can let me know and I can go even faster. Jainism word, it comes from Jain. Jain word comes from Jina. Jina means those who are conquerors. What have they conquered? They have conquered themselves, right? They have conquered their own mind, their own body, their own passions, their own rag and dvesh. The rag dvesh word in Jainism is kashay. Rag and dvesh is coming from the Bhagavad Gita or Hindu philosophy, but the Jain word is kashay, but with the similar meaning as rag and dvesh. Jina are the role models of Jainism, free from attachment and hatred, liberated from the bonds of worldly existence, the cycle of birth and death. They have attained perfect knowledge, that is Samyak Gyan. They know of past, present, and future. They are omniscients. They know past, present, and future of every soul in the universe. And they have destroyed their own karmas. Now, karma in Jainism is also different from Hindu philosophy. Hindu philosophy, karma and rebirth, karma and punarjanam are interrelated. But Jainism takes it to the next level, a different level, in which karma is actually a physical particle that gets attached to soul, which is metaphysical. Soul is metaphysical, karma is physical. So Jain philosophy imagined how a physical particle will get attached to metaphysical phenomenon, that is soul. Atma se karma ka bandhan hota hai. That is what causes our rebirth. So idea of karma is very similar in Buddhism, Jainism, and Hinduism, but here the karma is simply not just a metaphysical concept. It's a physical substance. It's almost like dust particles, dhul ke karma, that gets stuck to soul. That's what makes karma philosophy unique in Jainism. So Jinas have destroyed their karmas. Jinas are not the creator, destroyer, or protector of the universe. There is no creation, there is no destruction in Jain universe. Jain universe was always here and it will remain always here. The time never started, time will never end. Universe never started, universe will never end. These are the unique Jain ideas. It matches some of these ideas are similar in Hinduism also, as you know. But here it really highlights that there is no Brahman, there is no creator, there is no destroyer in the Jain universe. All right. Jinas, there are some special jinas who are called as Tirthankaras. Tirthankaras sometimes are translated in English as ford makers. Ford is Tirtha. Tirtha, that is a bridge between the physical mundane world to the moksha world, right? To the metaphysical world. So Tirthankaras are the enablers for millions of souls on the earth for them to arrive at the Siddhashila, Siddhaloka. So they are the Tirthankaras, Tirtha builders, bridge builders, right? Ford makers. Ford means Tirtha also. So what is this Tirtha? Tirtha is where the community is strengthened, community is formed by these special jinas, the Tirthankaras, where congregation of monks, nuns, lay males and lay females, lay followers, both males and females, men and women. They come together. So Jain Tirtha has 4 forms, 4 segments, 4 sections. Monk and nun, ascetics, laymen and laywomen, householders. So Jainism probably was one of the first, if not the first, probably the first tradition in the world that wholeheartedly welcomed women to become nuns at any age. There was no age restriction. The Varna system and ashram system in Hinduism prescribes, or even at least recommends that sannyas ashram is to be taken, sannyas is to be taken at the age of 75. You fulfill all your duties, all your rinas, then you take sannyas in Hindu system, right? Ashram system. Not in Jainism, Buddhism. Jainism from the beginning, Mahavir was a contemporary of the Buddha, as you know. So Mahavir allowed women to join his order while he was alive, without any hesitation, without any reluctance. Buddha was hesitant. Buddha even predicted that now that I'm letting women into my order, my Sangha will perish within 5 centuries from India, and almost that came true in Buddhism, not in Jainism. In Jainism, nuns have always been more than double of monks. So at the time of Mahavira, there are 26,000 nuns. There are only 14,000 monks, but nuns were more than double, almost more than double. All right, so that's 4 sections of the Jain community. Also, I've told you Jain Tirthankar. First Tirthankar was Rishabh. Rishabh, when was he born? Where was he born? It's all mythological stories. You know, the Jains say that millions of years back he was born. Rishabh had 2 sons, Bharat and Bahubali. Bharat and Bahubali, the 2 sons of Rishabh, were 2 bitter rivals that gave the inspiration for the popular Indian film Bahubali. It's based on actually a Jain text, Jain story. Jains also believe that the name of India, Bharat, comes from the Bharat, who was the son of Rishabh. All right, that was first Tirthankar, but that's a mythical figure. Last Tirthankar, Mahavir, as we already know, he was the contemporary of the Buddha. Both were born in northern region of Bihar, right? Bihar, Nepal border, Lumbini, where Buddha was born. Mahavir was born in Vaishali area, also in Bihar, and he passed away in Pavapuri, near Nalanda, near Rajgir. That's where Mahavir passed away. All right, and his time was 599 to 527 BC, Mahavir's time. All right. Names of Jain, some ancient other names, synonyms of Jain Dharma as Shaman Dharma. Shaman means those who are putting their efforts for liberation, Shram-based Dharma. Nirgranth Dharma, though non-attachment. Vratya Dharma, religion of vows, heavy, strong, great vows. Jain ascetics take, I'll show you in a second. Arhat Dharma, religion of Arhats, those who are omniscient, those who are liberated beings. Then it was Dr. Hermann Jacobi, German scholar, who first time proved to the West at least that Jainism is not a branch of Hinduism or Buddhism. Jainism is a separate, distinct tradition flourishing in India for at least 3,000 years. Historical, archaeological evidence prove it. So Jainism is not an offshoot of Buddhism or Hinduism. That comes from Dr. Hermann Jacobi, German scholar. All right, what are the major texts of German? Oh, the Jain references we find in Hindu texts also. So Hindu texts such as Rigved and Srimad Bhagavad, Rigved, Yajurved, they all have these words such as Arhan, Vatrashan or Keshi, Rishabdev, Ajitnath, Arishnabi. Those are all Jain figures, Jain texts, Jain personalities, Jain great legendary figures that are mentioned in Hindu texts. But interestingly, Hindu texts never mention a single word about Mahavir. Buddhist texts do mention about Mahavir. Hindu texts were so disappointed or so disgusted with Mahavir because Mahavir was an ultimate practitioner of nudity, nakedness, ultimate practitioner of fasting, far, far beyond anybody's imagination. Mahavir fasted for 11 years, intermittent fasting. He must be the pioneer of intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is now becoming a buzzword in the West. So out of more than 12 years that he did all these austere practices, he ate only for 1 year. For 11 years, intermittently, he fasted. So it was just too extreme, probably, as our beloved teacher or speaker Osho also notes this, and he says Hindus were so disgusted with Mahavir that Mahavir is never mentioned in any text. Rishabh is mentioned. Hindu texts do mention Rishabh, the first Tirthankar in Jainism, as an Anshavatar of Vishnu, but not Mahavir. Mahavir was too much for Hindu text. Anyway, so all that is done. You can note down your question if you have, and we can take your question at the end. But for now, let me just keep going because there's so much to cover. I want to show you so many things. All right. Many Jains believe that Indus Valley civilization might have some glimpses of Jain practices. Who knows? I mean, there is just a speculation. Indus Valley civilization, you know very well. So I'll go fast. So what they found in Indus Valley is this standing naked monks who are in meditation. At least Jains would like to interpret these kind of statues as if these are Jain naked monks, or this statue, this seal in which Pashva is shown surrounded by animals with cobra head and so on, like which is again Pashva is the 23rd Tirthankar, one Tirthankar before Mahavir. 23rd Tirthankar was Parshvanath, 24th and final was Mahavir. Mahavir was contemporary of the Buddha. So Pashva is shown in one of the seals. According to at least Jains would like to believe that he was Parshva. Who knows? Again, this is just a speculation. Yeah, so he's surrounded by animals and sitting in meditation. This could be a yogi or Hindu yogi or a Buddhist or a Jain yogi. Who knows? Jain Arhant or no or not. I mean, this is just a speculation once again in this Valley. All right, now let's go to next topic, which is Jainism is soul-oriented philosophy. Atma Kendrit Darshan is Jain Darshan. Brahma Kendrit Darshan. If we want to distinguish Jainism from Buddhism, Jainism from Hinduism, Brahma Kendrit Darshan would be, I think, Hinduism, especially the Astic side of Hindu Shad Darshan, right? They all accept Brahma and Ved, right? At least the Astika. Jainism, as you know, is Gnostic, Jainism, Buddhism, and Charvakas. But being Gnostic, yet Jainism at least accepts soul, Atma, as the ultimate truth, which Bauddha Darshan and Charvak Darshan reject, as you know, right? So this is Atma Kendrit, Atma Adharit, Atma Kendrit Darshan. Atma is accepted. Goal of each soul is to get liberation. Liberation, moksha, is the ultimate goal, just as Buddhism also says that, and Astik Darshan, all of Hindu Shad Darshan also say the same thing. But the idea of liberation is different. Here in Jainism, as I mentioned, Jain idea of liberation is infinite infinities. Hindu idea of liberation is one merger with Brahman. Buddhist idea of liberation is Shunyata, right? So those are the three different ways we can distinguish. Jainism, infinity. Hinduism, one. Buddhism, zero, Shunyata. All right. Ratna Trayaha, right faith, Samyak Darshan, right knowledge, Samyak Gyan, and right faith, Samyak Darshan, right knowledge, Samyak Gyan, and right conduct, Samyak Charitra. These are the three pillars of Jainism, we can say. All right, now let's take a deeper dive into this. Samyak Darshan, right faith. What kind of faith you need? When there are no gods, no goddesses, no Brahman, then why do you need faith? What kind of darshan is needed? What kind of visualized faith is needed? Darshan, how do you translate? Darshan is visualized faith, or to be able to visualize the preachings of Jaina. So even though there are no gods or goddesses, but the role models, the Jinas, Mahavir and Parshva before Mahavir, or the first Tirthankar, Rishabh, all of their teachings one must accept as the ultimate truth. If you want to attain moksha from Jain path, you have to have Samyak Darshan, right faith, in the teachings of Jaina. What are the teachings of Jaina? Soul exists. Atma is the ultimate truth. Unlike Buddhism, which rejected even Atma. Atma is eternal, Anant, like I keep saying, Anantanantaha, infinite infinities, right? Worldly soul is bounded by karma. Like I mentioned, soul is bounded, bandhan, with karma particles, which are like dust particles that get attached to Atma, which is metaphysical. Right? So very interesting, almost there is nowhere else you find this kind of an idea where physical dust particles are getting stuck to metaphysical soul. Atma se karma ke bandhan, karma ke karn, udgal karn are getting attached to Atma. Karma is the cause of rebirth, which is common across all Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism. I'm comparing intermittently with Buddhism and Jainism, Buddhism and Hinduism, because I'm assuming that almost all of you are really, you know much more about Hinduism than probably Jainism. So I'm just trying to compare a lot. Karma can be destroyed, which is again similar to Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism. But what makes Jainism unique is karma can be destroyed only by fasting and other austere practices. So path of sadhana, path of what I think probably what Hindu philosophy might say as Raja Yoga or Hatha Yoga is taken to the ultimate level in Jain philosophy. And we'll see how it does. We'll see in more detail in a second. And one who destroys karma can attain moksha, which is again common across Buddhism, Jainism, and Hinduism. All right, now Samyak Gyan. What is Samyak Gyan that Jainism is trying to preach us? Jainism says that we need to know the sanrachana, the structure of the universe with all kinds of souls in the universe. What kind of souls exist in the universe? There are living souls and non-living souls. What are the living souls? Living souls all have soul, or that is Atma, right? Now, those Atma can be mundane, that is sansaric souls, like almost all of us. We are not liberated yet, right? Or the soul can be liberated soul, that is Siddhatma, like Mahavir or Rishabh or Parshva in the Jain universe. Then mundane soul can be of two types, mobile or immobile. Immobile are the one sense beings, which is earth, water, fire, air, and vegetables. Okay. And the mobile souls are of four types. They can be of 2 senses, 3 senses, 4 senses, and 5 senses. Indriya, right? Ekendriya, Dviyendriya, Triyendriya, and Chaturendriya. Those are the 4 kinds of mobile beings that are possible in the Jain universe. This is the knowledge that we should have. This is the Samyak Gyan that we should possess to be able to proceed on the path of moksha. Now, this idea of categorizing different beings according to different senses was actually given by this text, Jiva Vichar Karana Darshan by Shanti Suri in 11th century. Okay, and what it says is that the beings can be categorized according to senses. There are immobile beings, which is earth-bodied beings, water-bodied beings, fire-bodied beings, air-bodied beings, nigoda, that is karma particles. I'm sorry, nigoda, which is one-sense beings. There are one-cell beings like amoeba and plants. These are all one-sense beings. They have only sense of only touch only beings. They don't have the sense of taste or smell or see or hear. Okay. Then there are 2 sense beings, touch and taste, sparsh and swad. Their lifespan is 12 years. They can be worms, leeches, oysters, and snails. Then there are 3 sense beings, touch, taste, and smell. They live for 49 days. They are the different kinds of insects and spiders. Then touch, taste, smell, and see, they live for 6 months. They could be butterflies, flies, and bees, makhia and titliyan. Then the 5 sense beings. They have all the 5 senses. Sentient beings and non-sentient beings. They are touch, sparsh, taste, swad, smell, gandh, see, darshan, hear, shravan. Right? So they can be birds, reptiles, mammals, humans, gods and demons. Gods are in Swarglok. Demons are in Narakas. There are 7 kinds of Naraks in Jain universe. There are several kinds of Swargas in Jain universe. Those are all gods, Devas. So Devas and Asuras are in Swarg and Narak. But on the earth, what are the 5 sense beings? They are birds, reptiles, mammals, and humans. So, unique idea of Jainism is that to kill any of these beings for our survival is the highest negative karma. So, Jain philosophy says that humans, for their survival, should not kill a human being, should not kill a mammal, should not kill a reptile, or should not kill a bird, because killing a bird or a reptile or a mammal is equal to killing a human being. So that is the original Jain rationale to promote vegetarianism. So how should humans live? They should depend only on one sense beings, that is earth, water, fire, air, and plants for their survival. Even by consuming these things, one should be extremely careful. Use minimum of earth, minimum of water, minimum of fire, minimum air, and minimum plants. Not all plants can be consumed. By a devout practicing Jain, not all plants can be consumed. Roots cannot be consumed because that would be destruction of the entire plant, more violence. Stems of a plants are not to be consumed because that's more destruction, more violence. Only the byproducts of a plants can be consumed without harming the actual plant. Right? Little bit of air, minimum of fire. So devout Jains will not use any kind of energy after the sunset. Finish all your work, your cooking, your eating, drinking, reading, writing, while we have sunlight. Nothing after sunset, because we want to minimize even violence committed towards fire. Water to be used extremely carefully in a very minimal sense, no wastage of water and no wastage of earth. So many devout Jains will not do any farming, because doing farming would be violence to earth. So they depend on intangible violence, where somebody else is already doing agriculture, will just take very minimal food, minimal of grains from people who are others who are doing farming. We will buy from them, but we will try to avoid any kind of violence towards earth, water, fire, air, and plants. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so that's the Samyak. The previous slide showed you the living beings, right? All the souls that are living beings. Now the non-living beings. Which are the non-living beings? If earth is also living, water is living, fire is living, air is living, then what are the non-living beings? This is the answer from Jain philosophy. Non-living beings are medium of motion, medium of rest, almost like Newton's law here, earth, momentum and inertia. Space is non-living, where we are all sitting. We use space, that is non-living. Time is non-living. And the Pudgalastika, those are the karma particles that get stuck to soul. Those are also non-living. So these are the only 5 things that are non-living. Rest, everything else in the entire universe is a living being from Jain philosophy. All right, now the right conduct. So we are, just to summarize, we are doing Ratnatrayaha, that is Samyak Gyan, the knowledge of all the beings in the universe, Samyak Gyan. Samyak Darshan, in the teachings of the Jinas. Now Samyak Charitra. What kind of conduct a Jain philosopher or Jain person, lay person should practice? What kind of conduct they should have? So in that they have 2 categories, ascetic conduct or lay conduct. In the ascetic conduct, there are great vows, the 5 great vows, which are non-violence, ahimsa, satya, truthfulness, non-stealing, asteya, celibacy, brahmacharya, and non-possession, aparigraha. So ascetics will practice these 5 great vows to the ultimate level, the most ultimate level that you can imagine. So in terms of ahimsa, if you take an example, Jain monks and nuns, you might have noticed in wherever you are, North India, South India, you won't find Jain monks and nuns outside India. But within India, you can find them in Delhi, Mumbai, UP, Rajasthan, Gujarat, of course, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka. Yeah, those are the major states where you find Jain monks and nuns. What you will find is they will never ride in a car or a scooter or 2-wheeler or even a bicycle. They will never fly. They will always walk, mostly barefoot. They would walk barefoot. Why? Because they want to minimize violence done to microbes and other reptiles or insects, because vehicles can quickly destroy, kill, cause violence to many, many millions of microbes and so on. So Jain monks and nuns go to the ultimate practice of ahimsa by not riding anything. They only walk, and that too barefoot, that too by clearing their way, so that they don't want to, even accidentally, they don't want to even step on a bug or a microbe. Truthfulness, highest practice of truthfulness, satya, you find in Jain ascetics. Non-stealing, of course, no question of stealing. Celibacy. Jain monks and nuns cannot stay, even in a large hall, they cannot ever be seen alone. Monk or nun can never be even seen, cannot even be imagined together in a single room. That's not how they practice. So no touching, of course, and no physical touching, no mental touching, no verbal touching between opposite genders. So that's celibacy, brahmacharya. Non-possession, aparigraha, they cannot possess anything. The highest practice, again, once they have only their 1 piece of rope, 1 piece of utensil for collecting the food, the begging for food for the one Shwetambar sect, not for Digambar. There are 2 sects in Jainism. Shwetambar monks and nuns will collect food in the begging bowl, but not Digambar. Digambar will collect only in their cupped hands. हाथ में लेंगे वो खाना, भिक्षा जब लेंगे दिगंबर तो हाथ में लेंगे और हाथ में लेके वही उनको कंज्यूम करना. That is the ultimate practice of aparigraha, especially by Digambar monks. So that you see in there. Then lay Jain people have relaxed vow. They will do. They live in mundane world. They live in worldly world as we know. So we all are committing some violence. We all tend to use sometimes untruthfulness or we do have so family. To establish a family is allowed, marriage is allowed for Jain lay people, not for monks and nuns, but Jain lay people are allowed one marriage and so on. So some possession also. Jain lay people have, I think, broken this last vow. They keep breaking because they are known for extreme wealth and so much money they have accumulated, so many possessions they have. Jain lay people, not Jain monks and nuns. So that's the right one. So these are the Ratnatrayaha once again: Samyak Gyan, Samyak Darshan, Samyak Charitra. These are the prerequisites for moksha in Jain universe. All right. Other 3 key words for Jainism are ahimsa, we already discussed, non-violence, aparigraha we discussed, not to possess unnecessary, and anekantvad, respect others' views. Plurality. Only reality in the universe is plurality. That there is no one view ever for anything in the universe. So to combine all the different views is the ultimate truth, which only the omniscients can possess the ultimate truth, but non-omniscients, the mundane people like you and me, like all of us, are all having the common view, which is not the omniscience. All right, so that's all done. Okay, so let me now show you another slide with doctrines. All right, let me share this also. 1 second. I have so much to share with you. And I'm going to my next presentation. All right, can you see? Hopefully you can see. Yes. Doctrines and philosophy of Jainism. You can see, right? Okay. All right, let's keep going. So the major text that I mentioned in my introduction also, when Professor Adi Nataraju invited me, he wanted me to speak on Tattvarth Sutra. I've already been giving you, some glimpses of Jain philosophy that all come from Tattvarth Sutra, which was written in 4th or 5th century CE. Like all Indian things, we don't know the exact time and date and place. Where was this written? When was this written? But these are just speculations. We think that Jains think, and Western scholars also agree that sometime in 4th or 5th century CE, Tattvarth Sutra was written. There is a dispute about the authorship of this text. The Digambar sect believes that the author was a male. His name was Uma Swami. Shvetambars believe that the author might be a female, Uma Swati or Uma Swami. Uma Swami, Digambar think, Uma Swati, Shvetambars think. All right. Now, so this is the first major Jain text in Sanskrit. Mahavir and Buddha both rejected many things that were coming from Vedic culture. Right? Mahavir, Buddha, they both rejected Varna system. Right? They rejected the hegemony or supremacy of Brahmins. They rejected the hegemony and supremacy of Sanskrit language. They rejected the system of ashramas that you can take sannyas only after 75, right? So Mahavir spoke most likely in Ardh-Magdi or some kind of Prakrit Bhasha, Prakrit language. Buddha most likely spoke in some version of Pali. But after they were gone, after Mahavir was gone, within 1000 years, Jains had to accept Sanskrit as their primary language. Sanskrit being the lingua franca of India at that time, Bharatvarsh or Aryabhat, whatever name we give to India. India was not the name at the time, as you know. But Jains also embraced Sanskrit and created this first major text, which is accepted, interestingly, by both sects, Digambar and Shvetambara. Before that, the texts that are written before that are not accepted by both sects, right? Prakrit texts such as Acharang Sutra or many Bhagavati Sutra and so on are accepted only by Shvetambars, the white-clad sect, right? The monks and nuns who wear white clothes are all Shvetambars. Shvet means white, as you know. Digambars means naked monks. Monks are completely naked. So Digambar texts are Kund. What Kund wrote, Acharya Kund wrote. He was born in Karnataka or Tamil or Andhra Pradesh. And he wrote Samayasar, Niyamsar, and Pravachansar that are accepted only by Digambaras. Then other Acharang Sutra and so on, Bhagavati Sutra and so on are accepted only by Shvetambaras. These are all written in Prakrit Bhasha, Prakrit language. But Tattvarth Sutra, when it is written in Sanskrit language, written by Uma Swati or Uma Swami, as I said, this text is accepted both by Digambars and Shvetambars. All right. So first major Jain text in Sanskrit. This is like a quasi scripture because it is highly respected, highly universally accepted by all Jains. So almost like a scripture, even though it is not obviously written by a Tirthankar. It does not contain the actual speeches of Tirthankars or actual actual discourses of Tirthankaras are not mentioned in Tattvarth Sutra. Yet the philosophy that is mentioned in this text is accepted by all Jains. So quasi scripture, almost like a scripture. Now, Sutra, as you know, is like kind of a mnemonic rules on the meaning of the reals. So if we translate the title of the text itself, Tattvarth, Tattva, Earth, Sutra. Tattva means real, right? Reality. Earth means meaning or significance. Sutra means mnemonic rules. These are mnemonic rules. These are coded words, coded language, right? On the reality, on the ultimate reality, on the actual Tattva. What is the ultimate reality? Ultimate truth, ultimate Tattva. So it organizes the various Jain elements in epistemological perspective, metaphysical perspective, ethical perspective. Ethics and metaphysics and epistemology are all intertwined in this text, right? You can't have Jain philosophy without ethics. You can't have Jain ethics without philosophy. Cosmological perspective and practical philosophy. Also, all of these perspectives are intertwined in Tattvarth Sutra. It talks about 3 jewels, Ratnatrayaha, which I already described for you. Right faith, that is Samyak Darshan, a positive and well-informed exposition. Right knowledge, Samyak Gyan. Right behavior, right? Samyak Charitri. Then it talks about universe and the beings, which I already mentioned to you, Loka and the beings of the universe, living beings and non-living beings, that is Jiva and Ajiva. Jiva being liberated, that is Siddha Jivas, Siddhatmas, or mundane beings which with 5 senses, like I mentioned, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 senses. I already mentioned all that. Origin, disappearance, permanence of the universe. Realist metaphysics of simultaneous change and stability. Jainism talks about realist metaphysics of simultaneous change and stability. Continuous change of body, Udgal, but permanence of Atma. Atma is permanent, body is always changing. While Buddhism said there is no permanent body, there is no permanent soul. Jainism disagreed with Buddhism and said that bodies are always changing. Every second we are undergoing aging and so on, but the soul is permanent. Even after moksha, soul is permanent. Hinduism says soul is gone after moksha, soul merges with Brahman, at least in Advait Vedant, as you know, soul is gone after moksha. Here, Jainism is saying soul is the ultimate truth, even after moksha, that is permanent. So that is the unique perspective of Jainism that we have here. Tatvarth ka meaning puch rahe hain. So I got a question here. Tatvarth, like I said, Tattva, Arth, Sutra. Tattva is the ultimate reality. Tattva. Tat means what in Sanskrit? That. Thatness. Essence of thatness. Essence. What is that remains forever? Tattvam-asi, same word. Tat-tvam-asi. You're all familiar with this line, this Mahavakya coming from Upanishad and Vedas. Tat-tvam-asi. Tat is a pronoun. Tattva is an abstract noun. Thatness. Right? Tat, Tattva, Arth, Sutra. That ultimate reality, significance of the ultimate reality, when they are coded and written as a sutra, it becomes Tattva Sutra. Just like we have Brahma Sutra in Vedanta Sutra and so on. Even Kam Sutra, Arthashastra. So all of many of our texts are written in sutras, in coded language, in short forms or formulas. That's what is Tattva Sutra. All right, let's go to. So Tattva Sutra has these 10 chapters, right? So Moksha Marg, Jainism is given a synonym of Moksha Marg. What is Jainism? Jainism is a Moksha Marg, path to attain moksha. Bhava, like different loka, different beings, different rebirths. Narak and Dvip, the cosmology of Jain universe is mentioned. Devas in the Swarg lokas are mentioned. Ajiva Dravya, the non-living beings are mentioned. Ashrava. So all the karma particles that are stuck to the soul, how do you prevent the influx of more karma particles into soul? You need to prevent, because you need to minimize karma particles that are getting attached to soul non-stop. So how to practice that kind of mental disposition that can prevent the karma particles from entering your soul? That's Ashrava. So there is one chapter, and a whole chapter on that. Then Shubh and Ashubh karma. What is Shubh karma and what is Ashubh karma? Shubh karma, will Shubh karma give you moksha? No. Shubh karma will only give you a rebirth in Swarglok. From Swarglok, you need to come back to earth, the Bhulok. Only from earth you can attain moksha, from Jain perspective. Shubh karma is not the guarantee for moksha. Ashubh karma, of course, will take you to hell, Nark, and that is, of course, will prevent you from attaining moksha. So for attaining moksha, both Shubh and Ashubh karma should be zero, completely gone from your soul. Your soul must be crystal clear, completely transparent, completely pure, completely clean. Only then you can think of attaining moksha. Bandha. Bandha is a process, bonding. Bonding is a process by which karma particles, like I said multiple times now, the physical particles are getting attached to metaphysical soul. That is bandha. Samvar and nirjara. Samvar means that process of prevention. Nirjara means process of destruction. You can prevent the influx of new karma particles coming into your soul. But what about the karma particles that are already attached to your soul? You need to clean that also. You need to prevent a disease, but you need to cure the disease that are already in your body. Right? So that is called as nirjara, the destruction of the older particles. Let me see the question. There's a question from Dr. Devachit Barua. Can we generalize the practice of celibacy as it may resist human existence on earth? Please make the concept clear in Jain perspective. All right. So Jain perspective is brahmacharya is an absolute prerequisite, because asceticism is a prerequisite to attain moksha. Asceticism cannot be practiced without brahmacharya. But Jainism is cognizant of the fact that not every Jain, forget about other human beings, but even other Jains, not all Jains can be ascetics. So there are always four segments of a society, even of a Jain society: monks and nuns with complete brahmacharya, grahasthas, grahast purush, grahast stri. They are assumed to never practice full brahmacharya. They will always, the marriage is always allowed for lay people. So it's a very, it takes an idealistic perspective, but it's also very realistic in a sense that not 100% brahmacharya is enforced for all living beings, right? So that clears hopefully. And then final chapter of Tattva Sutra is moksha, the ultimate goal, and these are the paths, and the ultimate goal is moksha. So 10 chapters, 350 verses. So you can imagine Tattva Sutra is kind of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, I think Dvaitvadi would accept, Advaitvadi would accept, ISKCON people would accept, Ramakrishna Mission would accept, Lokmanya Tilak would accept, Mahatma Gandhi would accept, right? Bhagavad Gita is accepted by all the Hindus of all different denominations, different sects, different ideology, different philosophies. Tattva Sutra is a text which can be compared with the Bhagavad Gita that unites all different sects under one umbrella, under one text. Tattva Sutra. All right, let's go to the next one. Then the omniscience. Omniscience is, of course, an English word. The Jain word is Kaivalya or Kaivalgyan. Kaivalgyan or Kaivalya. What is Kaivalya? Kaivalya, if you know Samkhya Yoga, Samkhya Yoga also talks about Kaivalya. What is Kaivalya? Kaivalya is when one has completely removed all one's karma particles, the soul is absolutely clean and clear, crystal clear, absolutely transparent. That time, one would have this immediate and unmediated experience. Just as Buddha had in Bodh Gaya, many of you probably are from Bihar or Jharkhand. You have been to Bodh Gaya. I have been to Bodh Gaya. There's a tree Bodhi Vraksh under which Buddha attained nirvana. We all know the legend. We all know the probably history or legend, whatever you want to call it. Similar experience Mahavir had when he was sitting not in Padmasana or not in Sukhasana. He was sitting in Dugdhasana, as if milking a cow. That kind of a posture he was sitting in. And he had an experience that was similar to what Buddha experienced, like in his nirvana. What Mahavir experienced was also an immediate and unmediated. There was no angel or there was no god or goddess in between the ultimate truth, his moksha, his Kaivalya is the word, and Mahavir. There was no intermediate figure. Like in some other tradition, there are angels or Gabriel or whatever angel in between the God and the one who is experiencing that experience. Here it's direct, immediate, and unmediated. So what happens in that moment? What happens to Mahavir? He knows, and he sees everything in the universe, the Jain universe, the Jain Loka, that shape that I showed you in the beginning. At all times, he can see the past, present, and future of all the beings in the universe in all possible modifications simultaneously. That is the omniscience that we're talking about. Omniscience, not about his own soul. He can, of course, see all his previous births, previous lifetimes, but he can also see my previous lifetimes, your previous lifetimes, my future lifetimes, your future rebirths. So, Punarjanam of all the beings in the universe, how they are transforming. He knows everything about everybody in the universe, all the species, not just humans. Let's see another question probably. Sir, is the Tattva Sutra an authoritative work on Jain philosophy? Like we have many different. Yes, like I said, yes, Tattva Sutra is the ultimate authoritative work which is accepted by all Jains. Yes, so that's why I compared it with the Bhagavad Gita. All right. Now, so that is done. Yes. So Mahavir is taken to be 100% totally trustworthy, right? The complete reverence, complete surrender to Mahavir in a way is to be a prerequisite if you want to practice Jainism, Jain philosophy for moksha. But Mahavir cannot grace you or bless you your moksha. You need to still work hard for your own moksha. Mahavir is simply a role model. That's all. You need to accept and believe in his teachings, in his role model. But you can't pray to Mahavir, give me my moksha. That's not allowed. There is not a Dvaitvadi system where ISKCON people can pray to Krishna. Krishna is the ultimate truth. Krishna, please grant me my Vaikunt or moksha or whatever, and things can work out. That's not the way. I'm trying to simplify ISKCON here. I'm a devotee of ISKCON also. But I'm just trying to compare. So that's why I'm trying to simplify ISKCON. And here's saying that Mahavir is not Krishna as Krishna is probably for ISKCON people. Mahavir is simply a role model. You need to work hard and do exact things what Mahavir did. The fasting, the meditation, the tapasya, and so on. All those things are to be done. All right, let's see more questions. Is it possible for all to be the Jinnah? Yes, technically all can be Jinnah. All have the same kind of soul. If we follow the exact path of Jinnahs, we all can be Jinnahs. But the prerequisite is the fasting, the meditation, and so on. The Ratnatrayaha, Samyak Gyan, Samyak Darshan Charitra, are to be practiced to be able to become a Jinnah. All right, so then we compare the word Keval as used by the Advaitins as Keval Chaitanya with the sense of Keval as used in the Jainism. Keval Chaitanya, I've never seen this word coming together. But yeah, Keval is
Kevala Brahman. Kevala Brahman. Kevala. We also use, I mean, Advaitins also use the word Kevala Chaitanya.
Okay, I've not seen. Okay. Then, yeah, Keval is like Nirvana, and like, Keval I would like to compare with Nirvana of Buddha. What happened to Buddha in that Bodhi Vraksh in Bodh Gaya, in Bihar? Same thing happened to Mahavir when he attained his Keval Gyan. If that makes sense. All right, let's keep going. Yes. So what does Tattvartha talks about? Tattvartha talks about Tattvartha Sutra or Jain philosophy in general talks about the Jain universe, like I already mentioned. Like I think I briefly talked about more detail now. So Loka or Triloka or Aloka are the words that are Lok and Trilok word we find in Hindu philosophy also. Probably not in Buddhism, but Hindu philosophy, definitely the Purans of Hindus definitely talks about Trilok and Lok and so on. But Alok is an additional term that Jainism uses. What is Alok? Alok is the entire, if you see this structure here, this icon. So outside of this structure, this black area, this dark area is Alok, the non-universe. This is the Jain universe. The yellow one is the Jain universe. Black one is the Jain non-universe, Alok. Okay. Loka is the open space seen by omniscient ones. So once somebody attains Keval Gyan, like Mahavir did, he can see the entire Loka in his Keval Gyan. The entire Loka, all the beings in the universe, in the Jain universe, he can see. But Alok is beyond the Lok. Right? So Jain, even Tirthankar can see only within Lok, not Alok. Alok is non-universe. Okay. Seen by omniscient. So that's the second point. Jain Lok is a finite universe. Modern science says universe is infinite. Probably Hindu philosophy also says Brahmand is Anant. But Jain Lok is Simit, not Asimit. Alok is Asimit in Jainism. Lok is Simit, limited, finite. But chronologically, it's infinite. Spatially, it's infinite. I'm sorry, spatially, it is finite. Chronologically, temporally, it is infinite. Universe was never created. Universe will never come to an end. Okay. Then the liberated souls are at the roof of the universe, which I call as final frontier of the universe. Here, this half crescent moon, if you can notice, on the top of this yellow figure, is where all the liberated beings are living even today, and they will continue to live forever. They never vanish. They never merge with any Brahman. There is no Brahman. So they are always in their ultimate their ultimate power, ultimate jnana, ultimate omniscience, and ultimate bliss, Anand. Just as we have Satchidanand in Hinduism, Hindu philosophy, here we have Virya, Gyan, and Anand. Okay? Ultimate power, ultimate omniscience, and ultimate bliss. Very similar to the idea of Satchidanand. Okay. So that's done. Okay. Now your Loka, this yellow Loka, this yellow icon, is a container of souls. All the Atmas are in the Loka. All the motion can happen only within Loka. All the rest can happen only within this Loka, medium of motion, medium of rest, the non-living beings. Atomic matter, that is Pudgala, the physical particles that are non-living beings, are also within the Loka, and the space, Akasha. Akash is also within the Loka. It has heavens and hells, right? So the central region is Earth. Between the final frontier and the Earth are the heavens. Below the Earth are the hells. Okay. Then on the Earth, there are island continents. Now the Hindu cosmology and Jain cosmology is very similar. Just as we have Meru Parvat in Hindu cosmology, there is similar Meru Parvat in Jain cosmology, Jambu Dweep is in Hindu cosmology and in Jain cosmology. Mountains, Meru Parvat, I already mentioned. Oceans are there again in Jain and Hindu cosmology. Alok, like I said, Alok is the non-universe outside the Loka with strong winds. That's all it has. There is no soul in Aloka. There is no living soul or even non-living beings. None of that is in the non-universe. Now, Jains were at the forefront of developing mathematics in India. You know, we already talked about infinite infinities. They were imagining numbers that are infinite. Probably pioneers in the history of humankind, Hindus and Jains. I don't want to sound prejudiced against Hindus, but let's say Hindus and Jains were at the forefront, were the pioneers of mathematics who developed these large, unimaginable numbers. Jains came up with these numbers such as infinite infinities. Then they came up with these distances, dimensions of Earth and Sun and Moon and so on. How they calculated? They said Earth is one rope wide. The word is Raju. They calculated the width of the Earth. How? I don't know. But they said, the Jain text mentioned that the Earth is one Raju wide. Loka, the universe, is 14 Raju long. The height of the universe is 14 Raju. So 14 times the width of the Earth is the height of the universe. Okay. And what is this Raju? Raju calculation, again, pioneers of mathematics. Jain said, imagine a god flying for 6 months at 10 million miles per second. That would give us the dimension of one Raju. Right? And then you multiply that by 14 times, you will get the height of the universe. So just very large numbers they were calculating, they were imagining. And that love for mathematics you still see in many Jain commercial enterprises. You will see Jains doing all the mathematical work, finance work, commercial work. You still see them even anthropologically. So that is all mentioned in Jain philosophy. Let's take, there are some more questions. Let me see. Is Panch Mahavrat of Jains same as it is in Buddhist Panchshil? It's very similar, yes. But Jain Panch Mahavrat is extremely difficult to practice because Jains are trying to practice that not just in spirit, but by letter. In letter and in spirit, you need to practice ahimsa. So absolutely no consumption of any meat. You know, Buddhists worldwide today are consuming all kinds of meat. In America and in China and Japan and many places, Buddhists take meat. Not in Jainism. Jain monks and nuns, you can't even imagine they ever accept, forget about meat, not even egg. And some monks are now renouncing even dairy products. So it takes it to letter and spirit. All right, what else? Sir, who is God in this calculation? Since Jainism, there is no God. No, there is no ultimate Brahman God or creator God, but there are godly figures in Swargas and demonic figures in Narkas, in hells. So that is the Deva it's talking about, not the creator God. All right, let's see. One more question. Why Jainism is not popular in India? Is it because of the supremacy of Hinduism or the principle of Jainism that failed to attract the people? Please respond. I think both. I can agree with that Hinduism is just so popular. And even though Buddhism was popular in India, but with the revival of Hinduism by Adi Shankaracharya and so many other reasons, Buddhism and Jainism slowly disappeared, and Jainism remained in small minority, it still remained. But Buddhism almost completely disappeared until Dalai Lama brought it back in Himachal Pradesh, until Ambedkar revived Buddhism in Maharashtra. Buddhism had already almost disappeared from India until recently. But Jainism never completely disappeared. Jain temples kept flourishing across Gujarat, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Karnataka, right? And Jains always remained very small minority, but very influential minority. Even today, they are the most literate community in India. They are one of the most wealthiest communities in India, most literate communities in India, and most influential. Let's just say that. All right, let's keep going. All right. Okay. So Jain cosmology, we mentioned Jambudvipa is very similar to Hinduism, so I'll just go fast. There is Bharat word used here, Airavat and Mahavidya as Karma Bhumi, again, very similar to Hindu ideas. Dhataki Khanda, Pushkar Dvipa, it mentions about. And the hells, I already mentioned, the demons are living in hells. Gods, that is Devas, are living in heavens. All right. Now, this also I mentioned 5 fundamental realities, the tattvas. 5 panch astikais, panchastikais, those that are living beings with souls, or ajiva, non-living beings, souls which are stationary, that is plants, such as plants, Moving, that are insect, god, demons, animals, and humans. We discussed this already. Ajivas could be dharma, medium of motion, medium of rest. Udgala, atoms, space and time are all non-living. We discussed that already. And Bhutdaya and all that we mentioned also. Jiva Vichar Prakaranam by Shanti Suri, 11th century. What makes Jains strictly vegetarians is this logic that for one's survival, one should use only one sense beings, that too in extreme care, in extreme frugality. Never waste earth, air, water, fire, or even plant. Be extremely judicious, extremely careful as how you use these beings in the universe. All these are living beings. Once again, earth, air, water, and fire are all living beings in Jain universe. All right. 9 real tattvas, jivas, ajivas. We discussed this also kind of. Ashrava, flowing in of karma. Punya and papa are also tattva 9 reality. Punya is meritorious actions. Papa morally negative will lead you to hell. Punya will lead you to heaven, not to moksha. Punya cannot give you moksha. Punya can only give you swarga. Bandha type of binding, we discussed. Samvara, binding of influing karma. Nirjara, decision of karma. And moksha. We discussed all this. And let's see if any question. All right, how much time I have? I can go on and on, but how much do you want to speak? I think I completed 1 hour. Should we stop here? I can, talk for 2 more hours, but let's see if any questions and anything else you want to ask before if you want me to take another topic.
Sir, you can continue.
Okay, fine. I'll continue. All right, no problem. So share screen. Once again, share screen, please. Now I'll dive deeper into why Jains are what exactly is going on when Jains talk about food. Okay, you can see this. So bioethics of Jainism, bioethics, animal ethics. How exactly Jains see food and what is wrong with assuming or eating animals as food? I'm not saying that all Indians are vegetarians. We know, many of us are not vegetarians, those who are participating in this webinar. But Jains are mostly, all of them are pure vegetarians. So what is their logic? I already gave you a glimpse, but some more details now I'll share. Great nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Gandhi was heavily influenced by Jainism. Do you know this, right? Gandhi was when he was in South Africa, he had some moral, spiritual questions and dilemmas as he was interacting with Muslims and Christians in South Africa. Gandhi developed this genuine curiosity about Indian traditions. So he wrote letters in Gujarati language to Srimad Rajachandra, a Jain practitioner of Jain philosophy in Gujarat. And Srimad Rajachandra wrote back letters to Gandhi in which he answered many of his questions. Those original questions and answers are even today, they are preserved carefully in Gujarati language. And Gandhi, after that, took many examples, many ideas from Jain practices of, for example, no clothing. As soon as he returns to India, he renounces all his clothing. His entire movement is now based on Purusharth. He's walking for the most part. He's avoiding riding on a vehicle. You see him walking Dandi March, for example. Right? His Upavas. Jains are known for their fasts, Upavas. Gandhi also embraces Upavas as is one of his primary means of resistance, right? Asayog Andolan or Satyagraha. Upavas, Maun Vrat. Jains are known for keeping their vows of silence for a long time. Gandhi also has this Maun Vrat that he keeps for days together, right? And many ideas, Purusharth, and he's making his own clothes. He rejects the industrial cloth that is coming from Lancashire in UK. So all many things you can see that he mentioned in his autobiography that one single person that influenced me most was Srimad Rajachandra. Even though he never called him his official guru, but he does mention that the highest inspiration I have is from Srimad Rajachandra. All right, enough of that. All right, now animals in Indian tradition, as we know, even Hindus have love and respect for Go Seva is primary duty. Hanuman is a popular deity in Hinduism, and on, right? Kartikeya and Ganapati and all the Hindu gods and goddesses, they have different vehicles, different rites of different animals and birds. So what separates us from animals, as Ahar, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithun is all common across animals, but dharma is what separates humans from animals. And this Hanuman, the monkey, Jatayu, the vulture, Ganesh, the elephant, you already know all that, so I'll go fast. Even animals can attain liberation, even though animals must come back as human body to be able to achieve moksha. Bodhisattva also is mentioned as many animals in Jataka tales in Buddhism. Now in Jainism, what happens in Jainism is that in Mahavir, in one of his previous lifetimes, there is a heavy, wild, what should we say, Mahapralaya kind of phenomenon happening in a forest. Heavy floods. Okay, so all the animals are running around, and one rabbit is running near an elephant. Heavy downpour is happening. Elephant wants to scratch his leg. So he lifts his leg. Rabbit takes shelter under the leg of the elephant. Elephant, after scratching is done, he wants to try to keep his leg back on earth, but he sees the rabbit is there. So he keeps his leg for 4 days while the downpour is happening. So rabbit's life is saved by elephant. To reward this ultimate compassion of elephant, that elephant is reborn as a prince in his next lifetime, and eventually he attains moksha through Mahavir. So even an even an animal can display this ultimate compassion. Okay. Now in Parshva, the 23rd Tirthankar before Mahavir, is sitting in meditation, but some Jains say that a Brahmin attacks Parshva and tries to agitate his meditation. That time 2 cobras come and save Parshva in his meditation. So Parshva, the 23rd Tirthankar, is always shown with these 2 cobras protecting him. Just as Vishnu is shown with Sheshnag in Hindu temples, Parshva is shown with these 2 cobras in Jain temples. Okay, so these are reborn as guardian deities. So animals and their correlation with compassion and displaying human tendencies, human traits. Compassionate lion. So even as a lion, Mahavir was born as a lion in his previous lifetime. And he shows his ultimate compassion, his vegetarianism, even as a lion. So lion, when he dies, he's reborn as Mahavir and becomes a Tirthankar, because ultimate compassion, ultimate karuna. Okay. So what do these Jain tells us? Jain tales tell us, are humans equal to animals? Are humans equal to animals? In one sense, they are, because to kill an animal is equal path of killing a human being. So both are equal. But only a human can attain moksha. Animal cannot attain moksha. Animal must be born in human body to be able to attain moksha. Are animals sacred? In Hinduism, yes, Ganpati and Hanuman being the great examples, but not in Jainism. Jainism role models are only human Tirthankaras, human Jinas, Mahavir and Rishabh and Parsh, not animals. There is no animal worship going on in Jain temples. What drives animals to liberation? When they display human characteristics of compassion and non-violence, only then they can be hopeful of attaining liberation. What is the distinction between Hindu and Jain attitudes towards animals? I already mentioned Hindus literally can worship Hanuman and Ganesh, but not Jains. All right. So Hindu attitude for food is prasad. Food is given or taken as a prasad, yajna, shraddh, Brahmins, ghee and cow. You know all these things. But Jain attitude for food is to renounce food. So much so that, what is Salekhna? Salekhna, other word is Santhara. Santhara or Salekhna is when a Jain knows in his, maybe the age is 80 plus or 90 plus, they can imagine that they are approaching their death. As they approach their death, they renounce food completely. They renounce water completely. They bring down their carbon footprint almost to zero, which equates with their karmic footprint also equals to zero. As their karmic footprint and carbon footprint are almost zero, they can then hope to achieve liberation. So that is what Jains demonstrate by renouncing food completely. And many Jains are known to be doing fasts that last for 3 months, 2 months, without water, without food, and on and on. And like I mentioned, Mahavir's own case, he did his austere practices for 4,380 days. Out of those thousands of days, he ate only for 349 days. And even in those 349 days, he took only little rice, little dates, that is khajur, little pulses, little dal. That's all he took for 1 year out of more than 12 years that he did his austere practices for. Let's take a question. So though you are merely providing a description Jainism for the tone of your gives me into that you take Jainism to spirit other. Am I right or idiot? What are your no, I'm not showing Jainism as a superior. My mother is a Hindu. My father is a Jain. My father, he passed away 4 months back. My father was a Jain, I should say. My mother is a Hindu. I'm a proud Bharatiya. I'm a Buddhist. I'm a Hindu and I'm a Jain. If I talk about Hinduism, I'll speak with equal passion. If I speak about Buddhism, I will speak with equal passion. So please don't misunderstand me. I am Sikhism also. Don't misunderstand me, please. I'm just, because Jainism is new to us, new to most of you, I'm assuming, but maybe I'm wrong. So I'm just trying to forcefully, share whatever little things that I discovered as preparing for these kind of presentations. So what I've learned, I'm sharing with a little passion here, but not with any superiority attitude. All right. Okay, this we already discussed. Okay, now there is a saying, scholarly saying, that Jains have this fear of food. Jains have fear of food. What kind of fear of food? First thing a Jain would do to be able to attain moksha is to cut down his food consumption. Right? Like I said, no gajar, no carrot, no mooli, no radish, that is, right? No aloo, potatoes, no pyaz, onion, no root vegetables, no stem vegetables. You have to do fortnightly fast, monthly fast, no food after sunset, no food, water before sunrise. So minimize the time and variety of what kind of food and water, what kind of food and drink you can consume. So why there's so much avoidance of food and water? So somebody came, Professor Padmanabh Jain, he, even though being a Jain, Digambar Jain, he coined this term that Jains have fear of food, almost like a funny tone, right? Why this fear or avoidance of food so much? So argument is here. The explanation is here now. Food gives rise to life. In another way, in a funny way, we can say Jainism begins from kitchen, ends in kitchen. In a way. Why? Because food is what makes us alive. Food is what gives rise to even sexual instinct. Sexual instinct gives rise to possessive instincts, right? Sexual instinct gives rise to family. Family gives rise to possessing. I want to have this bigger car, bigger house, more clothing, and so on, right? And now Jain focus, the entire focus is aparigram, no possession, brahmacharya, no sex. So for that, they're trying to hit at the root cause of all that is food. अगर भूख ही नहीं होगी, पेट में जगह ही नहीं होगी, पेट में एनर्जी, शरीर में ऊर्जा ही नहीं होगी, अब क्या तो you will have nothing of this, right? You will have nothing, no urge of sex, no urge of possessing things. So you will naturally incline towards more and more tapasya, upvas, dhyan, and so on. So in a funny way, we can say Jains are so fearful of food because they are fearful of sexual instincts, they are fearful of possessive instincts, so they are fearful of food. Hope that makes sense. So soul and its 4 instincts are all rooted in food. So Jains are these. All right, let's take more questions. Santara. I already mentioned Santara. You missed it, but let's see. Kindly elaborate. Parasparo graho jivana. Do you think that's has some sort of impact on animal? Of course. Okay, let's take Santara. Santara I already mentioned. Santara is synonymous with Salekhna. Salekhna is the word used by Digambar's mode. Santara is the word used by Shwetambar's mode. So Shwetamars are the white-clad sect. Digambars are the naked monks of Jainism, completely naked. Shwetamars have white clothing for their monks and nuns. But idea is same. What is the idea? Santara and Salekhna, you renounce food and water and medicines completely. From then on, you will only be fasting until you die. So some people challenged this practice of Jainism. There was a lawsuit in Rajasthan High Court where people challenged this Santara Salekhna practice of Jains and compared it with suicide. In 2008, when Jainism was first time officially declared by the Indian government as a separate minority religion, then Santara Salekhna was allowed officially, by legally it's allowed only by Jains because it's part of the spiritual practice of trying to get closer to their Keval Gyam, their moksha path. So Santara Salekhna is allowed. It is not suicide. It is not euthanasia. It is not Ichamrityu. Right? It is not even Ichamrityu. Bhishma Pitama, we all know Bhishma Pitama was sleeping on that shayya and then he can decide when he wants to. No, it's not even that. It is a complete surrender to nature. That from now on, I will consume only minimum of air, minimum of earth, minimum of space, but no water, no food, nothing. So that is the Jain idea of Santhara Sallekhna, which is complete surrender to nature by minimizing your carbon footprint, by minimizing your karmic footprint. Your karma particles are minimum, your carbon footprint are minimum. Let's take, okay, now Paraspar Upagraha Jivanam means that beings in the universe live by helping each other. Beings in the universe survive by supporting each other. You know, in Sanskrit, in Hinduism also, we have this line, Jivo Jivasya Jivanam. Jivo Jivasya Jivanam has been mistranslated as that the bigger fish eats smaller fish. I would like to interpret it as bigger, fishes or all the beings in the universe, in the sea or in the universe, they live by supporting each other. Right? The coexistence is the prime feature of all many Indian traditions, including especially Jainism, where violence, even accidental violence, is to be avoided. So every Jain, every devout practitioner Jain, at the end of his or her day, has to repent for any violence accidentally committed to any being in the universe, including microbes. So that is the Jain idea of non-violence. All right, let's take more question. Sir, you mentioned Jainism supports pluralism. Does it also believe in pluralism? Gender then? Of course. Jainism talked about 3 genders: masculine, feminine, and hermaphrodite. That is Napunsak or Napunsaklik, what we might call in Sanskrit as Napunsaklik. In Jainism, there is this 3rd gender that is mentioned in the ancient Jain texts. All right, more question. There was one more question. If I can take a chat look. Sir, I've noticed that you have been using the word Hinduism several times. Certain ideologies might include Jainism under the umbrella of Hinduism. Do you agree with this classification? I would love to have your response on it. Okay. Are Jainism and Hinduism separate? Are Jains Hindus? My own view is, and people, even Jains might disagree. My own, since you asked for my view, I will give you my view. I would say Jains are Hindus, but Jainism is separate from Hinduism philosophically with many overlaps. Does that make sense? Because Jainism is under Gnostic ideologies, Shad Darshan. Shad Darshan are separate and Gnostic Darshan. Shad Darshan are all Astic. Gnostic Darshan are Bodh, Jain and Charvak. So obviously Bodh and Jain are separate from Vedanta and Yoga and Mimamsa and so on, right? But of course there are many overlaps. There is Moksha is overlap, Karma is an overlap, Atma is an overlap with the Astikas. So Jain philosophy is separate and distinct with many overlaps and comparative features, just as with Hindu philosophy and Buddhist philosophy also. But Jains are Hindus, I would say. Why? Because Jains, all their rites of passage, for example, wedding ceremony is done according to Vedic rituals. Jain weddings happen according to Hindu rites of passage. Jain Mundan Sanskar, exactly like Hindus. Jain Namkaran Sanskar, exactly like Hindus. Jain Daha Sanskar, my father passed away 4 months back, 100% Hindu rituals. My own wedding, all Jain weddings, 100% Hindu rituals. Right? So it's very interesting and a lot of overlaps, very interesting examples of coexistence. There were some minor conflicts also between Jains and Hindus, but mostly 99.99% of the history of Jains is the history of peaceful coexistence with Hindus for thousands of years in South India, North India, across India. All right, how much time we have? I can, please remind me of time. I'll keep going otherwise. Or one more question. Sir, as per our understanding, the soul, according to Jainas, is omniscient by nature. If that is the case, why does it get affected with the carbon particles in the first place? Good question. Soul is omniscient by nature, yes, but soul is covered by some kind of this glue. That glue attracts. Glue is the rag and dvesh. Glue are the kashai. Kashai attracts the karma particles. So to remove this glue, one must work very hard. One must do tapasya. One must do these austere practices, austerities. By only those practices of tapasya, the upavas, fasting, you can remove that glue from the soul and you can manifest, reflect your pure original nature of omniscience. Right? All right, let's see more question. All are based on dharma. Yes, they're all dharmas, Jain dharma, Bauddha dharma, Hindu dharma. Dharma idea is accepted, but dharma meaning is different. Jain idea of dharma is ahimsa. Ahimsa parmo dharma in Jainism. Hindu idea of dharma is rhythm, cosmic rhythm, coming from Purush Sukta of the Rig Veda. Jain idea of dharma is ahimsa, non-violence. Okay. Please keep typing your questions. I don't want to, yeah, just type your questions. All right, while you type your question, I'll explain this slide, which is renouncing so Jain, how do you overcome all the instincts? You will renounce the desire for flavor. Gandhiji was known to have intentionally a chutney of neem ke patte, leaves of neem, extremely bitter. He would forcefully feed that neem chutney to his guests just for them to also renounce the desire for flavor. We should have the detachment for flavor. So that is a Jain idea. Minimize violence towards one sense beings. Even figs are to be avoided because they might have different microbes. Seed fruits are to be avoided. Garlic, turmeric, ginger, bamboo, radish, beetroot, carrot are to be avoided because they are anantkayas. They can have many microbes. You need to have extreme care as you consume water. Water must be boiled and filtered. Then, like I mentioned, no food, water after sunset. Digambar, Shwetambar monks, Digambar take it to even more ultimate level. Like I said, they will not use any utensils as they accept bhiksha of food. So by overcoming these instincts, they overcome sexual instincts also. Fasting is to be done even by lay people, weekly fast, fortnightly fast, and annual fast. And that is how they liberate from hunger. That is how they work towards their liberation. Sir, in context of Jainism, Syadvad is discussed as one of its main principles. Yet to hear this term in your presentation, or have I missed it? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to talk about Syadvad because of limited time, but maybe some other time. So after all the extremely rigorous fast that Jains practice, when they end the fast is done fast ends. Fasts are ended by a lot of celebration, by a lot of food and so on, because it's a major accomplishment that somebody could survive for 7 days, 15 days, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months by renouncing the food and water completely. So it's a kind of a celebration. All right, one more question. Sir, is the term ahimsa used in Jainism most strictly? Of course, Jain ahimsa is the ultimate ahimsa, where you can't even walk with without being careful. You cannot eat without being careful. So Jain ahimsa is the ultimate ahimsa. Anywhere in the world, nowhere else in the world you will see this kind of practice of ahimsa only in Jain. Jains take it to the ultimate level. Is it possible to practice non-violence in a strict sense as suggested by Jainism? Jain monks and nuns are today practicing the ultimate non-violence by demonstrating all what I've been talking, like walking barefoot and having all kinds of restrictions for food and water. All right. Okay. This is just some data. Meat consumption today in India, today means as late as 2013, meat consumption was lower than Kenya, China, UK, Canada, Brazil, and US. US has the highest level of meat consumption. India remains the country with lowest consumption of meat, even though not all Indians are vegetarian. The word ahimsa in many terms used by Gandhiji taken from Jain side, it's not ahimsa. Yes, of course. We discussed that Gandhi and Jainism quite in detail. I talked about. All right, then so that completes this presentation also. How much time I still have? I think I'm out of time now.
Sir, एक question है.
No, sir, I think.
Yes, you can type
Yeah,
your
yes.
People have been typing.
जी सर. सर, जब अहिंसा परमो धर्म की बात होती है तो
Please
वहां पर
type your
धर्म
question.
का
I think it will save. Hold on. Everybody, please only type your question. It will save a lot of time. Right? People, please type your questions. Because otherwise the question become a comment. Comments become a lecture. Right? Lecture तो मेरा है आज ना. आप लोग question type करिए और मैं आपको आंसर दूंगा. नहीं तो आपका lecture शुरू हो जाएगा. Okay. Because we have seen many webinars, all these things happen. Okay. अनेकांतवाद की थोड़ी बात करते हैं. अनेकांतवाद is pluralism. Syadvad is connected with अनेकांतवाद. Syad literally means syat, perhaps, probably, shayad. Syat give us the word shayad. What Jains are saying is that maybe when we use a term, it has many, many different interpretations: physical interpretation, metaphysical interpretation, linguistic interpretation, and so on. For example, I'm sitting on a chair, my laptop is on a table, right? Table, if I touch and make this sound, it is a physical reality, right? But if I bring a powerful quantum microscope, this table will appear from that quantum microscope not as a physical matter, but as dance of energy, quantum energy. From quantum perspective, table becomes dance of energy, right? Then if I apply a linguistic context, I table a motion in parliament. Table becomes a verb. Table is a physical matter. Table is quantum energy. Table is displaying a bill of motion in parliament. But combining all these perspectives, we arrive at the ultimate meaning of the word table. That is the one way of looking at Jain. Anekantva. Maybe this is a table. Maybe it's a physical matter. Maybe it is dance of energy, quantum perspective. Maybe it is passing of a law, parliament. So by combining all these maybe perspectives, you get the ultimate reality. That is the ultimate reality of Jain, how Jain Tirthankar would see it, Jain omniscient would see it. All right, more questions in the typing, in the chat window. Sir, in your introduction, you mentioned that Jainism is a school that welcomed women with open heart to further articulate their rational ideas. But in the introduction to Indian philosophy, author by D. Datta is mentioned that Digambar mentioned women cannot obtain liberation without being born once more as men. So my doubt is the doctrine of liberation based on gender? Okay, good question. Yes. So what Digambar Shwetambar did is another matter that happened after 500 years. Mahavir was already gone. But when Mahavir was alive, he gave equal and exact same respect and acceptance to men and women, laymen and lay women, ascetic men and ascetic women, monks and nuns, and Jain lay people also. So from Mahavir's perspective, the role model of Jainism is Mahavir, not Digambar and Shwetambar. What Mahavir did is equal respect to all genders. What Digambars do is correct. Digambars say that women have inherently more violent kind of bodies, so they are prohibited from moksha in this lifetime. They must be reborn as men in Digambar sect. Shwetambar say no, all kinds of bodies, as long as they are human beings, they do and they can attain liberation. So yes, that is correct. All right, let's see. In Dosha Bata Stotra, Buddha was mentioned as the avatar of Vishnu, but any Tirthankar was not mentioned as an avatar. Any Astik Guru Acharya, what is the cause? Yes, I mentioned that the first Tirthankar of Jainism, that is Rishabdev, is mentioned as an Ansh avatar in Hindu texts, but Mahavir was completely avoided, completely ignored by Hindu texts, because Mahavir was probably way too much. He was too exotic for Hindu texts, so Mahavir is completely ignored, as Osho also mentioned this in one of his lectures. All right, next question. Sir, is it reasonable to talk about the possibility of animals being born as humans if they display human-like qualities? Can animals be considered to have moral agency? I discussed that in detail, that animals, when they are showing non-violence and compassion, they are rewarded with human bodies in their next lifetime. And from there, they do attain moksha. Yes, we already discussed this in my presentation. You can watch the recording. Jainis eat food which is cultivated in the field where many insects are killed during plow. How to understand that? Yes. So Jains are saying that to survive, we need to eat food. But to minimize food, how do you minimize food? By fasting, right? But even the minimum food that you will consume should be carefully chosen, should be minimum. If you have hunger for 4 roti, only 2 rotis you eat. If you have hunger for this much dal, take less dal. If you have attachment to salt and ghee, practice ayambil. Ayambil is a specific kind of a fast in Jainism. Ayambil means you avoid salt and ghee completely for 3 days, just to cut down your attachment to taste. Like I mentioned the example of Gandhi. So that is the idea, to minimize the attachment to food, even to need of food, you minimize, and ultimately you take samthara or salekhna as you approach your death. That is how you peacefully leave your body. All right, next question. As we know from biology now, the distinction between man versus animal is a spurious distinction, since humans are animals too, right? Yes, of course, but Jainism is not science. After all, it's philosophy, it's a living reality, it's a living culture. It is not science. Who said Jainism is science? So scientific perspective is one perspective. You need to combine many, many perspectives to arrive at the final truth. So it's not fair to compare Jainism or Hinduism with science. They're all different perspectives. Quantum mechanics is one perspective. Physical science is one perspective. Quantum science is another perspective. Politics is another perspective. So when we combine all these perspectives, we finally arrive at the ultimate reality. Okay. Anything else? All right. Okay, I think we should stop here with your permission. I hope you learned something new today. And like I said, if I'm speaking on Hinduism, I will put even more passion. So I'm not hardcore Jain or hardcore Hindu. I love all Indian traditions. North, South, East, West, all are mine, right? We are all Indians.
Wonderful presentation, sir.
Thank you.